All right, so let's take a look at questions 27 and 28. So looking at number 27, it says find the volume of the composite solid which has a rectangular base. Note that the figure is not to scale. Okay, so what does a composite solid mean is that I'm going to put two shapes together. We're going to have to get the volume of each, and then we're going to add them up. So let's take a look at the pyramid first. I remembered what's the formula for the pyramid? Volume of the pyramid is going to be the area of the base times the height divided by 3. So in this case, the base happens to be a rectangle. I'm looking at the shape right here. The rectangle is going, I'm going to say this is 9 and this is 5. Okay. So the area of that rectangle will be 9 times 5. So I'm just going to say this is going to be 9 times 5, the area of the base, times the height, which happens to be 10. I see the height of the pyramid is 10. And then I'm going to divide this by 3. So 9 times 5 times 10 divided by 3. According to my calculator, I get 150. So the area of the pyramid is 150. Now let's take a look at the area of the prism at the bottom. Formula for the prism is going to be the volume is going to be the area of the base times the height. I don't divide by 3 because it's a prism. Remember, prism, what it is it's basically the top and the bottom have the same shape. In this case, rectangles. Top and bottom are the same shape, and everything else are rectangles. That's what we call a prism. So the area of the base here is going to be a 9 times 5. And then the height of this prism I see happens to be 7. So I'm going to go 9 times 5 times 7. It happens to give me 315. So I have that the area of the pyramid is 150. The area of the prism is 315. Altogether, I'm just going to add them up. So 150 times 315 happens to give me 465. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to get the area of each shape individually and then just add them up. Now let's take a look at number 28. Find the volume of the composite solid, which is a hemisphere atop a cylinder. Note that the figure is not to scale, then round your answer to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Hemisphere. What is a hemisphere? Hemi means half, and sphere, well, it's like a shape of a ball. It's a sphere. Hemisphere is basically half of a sphere. I remember. I remember what's the volume for the sphere. I remember we just saw that yesterday. And then I said, well, the volume of a sphere is going to be 4 times radius times radius times radius times pi divided by 3. That will give me the whole sphere. But I'm trying to get half of the sphere. So whatever I get from here, I'm going to divide this by 2. Okay. So let's see, my radius happens to be 6. So for the sphere, I'm just going to go 4 times 6 times 6 times 6 times, let me use the pi symbol, times pi divided by 3 divided by 2. I'm going to put parentheses on these. So I just know that each of them were individually. And when I type this in on my calculator, I happen to get, let's see, 1130.9733. I want to round my answer to two decimal places. So right now I'm just gonna leave this as four decimal places. I'll deal with the rounding at the end. I round my answer, not my work. Okay. Now let's take a look at this the cylinder. I know the cylinder is basically like a circle on top, a circle on the bottom, and then the rest is just a big rectangle. And I call it a big rectangle. You guys can open a can, like, just be careful. Cut a can, cut the top, cut the bottom of a soda can. You guys will see the whole side, it's a big rectangle. Okay. But the volume of a cylinder, I know is the area of the base times the height. So I'm just gonna go and see the radius. The radius here happens to be 6 because it's the same as the top. So the volume in this case is gonna be area of a circle. I know is radius squared times pi. So I'm gonna go 6 times pi. Oh, actually, my bad. I checked up here. I double checked my answer. My hemisphere. Let me type that in again. 4 times 6 times 6 times 6 times pi divided by 3 divided by 2. I actually got 452.389. My corrections. Okay, so 452.389. Okay. Now over here, coming back to the cylinder. Let me come back to the cylinder. So the area of the base is 6 times 6 times pi. The height happens to be 10. So let me type that in. 6 times pi times 10. According to my calculator, I get 1130.973. I was reading it incorrectly. So now I have the hemisphere, I have the cylinder. Let me add this two up. So let's see, 452.389 plus 1130.973. I get that my answer, it's 1583.362. Okay, my third decimal number, it is small. I was keeping it at three decimal places just in case I needed to round things up. So my answer happens to be 1583.36. Now, if you use 3.14 instead of the pi symbol, if you use 3.14, your answer should be 1582.56.